Good evening. Welcome to the May 12th Anchorage Planning Board meeting. Take a roll call. Mary Foley. Here.
Here.
Sarah Creighton present. Solney.
Here.
Sue Silver. Here. Okay, great. And Laura and Peter are out tonight. The first order of business is an approval not required from Kinder and McDonald, 1 Spy Rock Hill. Is the applicant here? Are you representing the applicant? Okay, great. You know who you are, why don't you introduce yourself?
Adam Taylor, McDonald is the Taylor.
Okay, go ahead. You want to tell us what you're doing?
Yeah, this is a very simple A&R plan to carve off a very small piece, parcel A, that's going to be conveyed to an abutter. So it's going to leave a revised lot 8 that is going to still have about 280 feet of frontage on.
They weren't last time too.
Hold on.
Except I can't.
Can everybody mute themselves, please? Thank you. Go ahead. Sorry.
So we're just creating a revised lot 8 that's going to have a very small 230 square foot parcel A. If you look down, you can see close to really at the bottom of the rock, a little parcel of land that's being conveyed to an abutter. It's not a buildable lot. So it's just very simple.
Who's the
Lot plan. Your house.
abuts which property?
If you look down, you'll see it's
Can you just show
parcel
us
14023.
Could you show us on a larger plan?
Yeah.
Do you have the Mylar here? It's just this very small parcel right here. It's the bottom of the rock where it comes down the little house that's on the railroad tracks.
So
This tiny
it's,
little parcel.
so where's the house?
It's right here.
Should we all move over there to see it?
Yeah, let's put it in the,
Thank you, Sue.
This tiny little trailer is here.
230 square feet.
Right, correct.
And the house is here?
Right here. It's right on the tracks. Right.
I see the tracks.
Right. House is like right here. It's tucked up right
It's in
against.
there or not in there?
It's right here.
So you're not removing any?
So where's the, I don't see a parcel.
Yeah, I don't either.
Parcel A. See this little parcel?
Just
Little tiny
So
little
the
Right
house
here?
is here?
Right. The house is right here.
Is
and-
that the one that's tucked right in
Yeah,
the
so
side?
right,
of the
it's right on the
railroad
side of
track?
the tracks. Correct.
One that can't.
So this is going to give them a little bit.
Somebody lives
It's
there?
going to give them a piece of rock.
And so it's going to go to them?
Yep.
And it doesn't have any frontage on?
Nope. Nothing. It's just a non. It's going to add to their lot. If you drive by, you'll see the rock. The cliff kind of comes down, and this will give them a little.
Where
little
is there?
piece of the
Where
cliff.
is their lot at? Where actually?
You know, you can call it up on GIS. But you can see this little. It's really that little
Here, I'll show it to you.
piece.
Honestly, we shouldn't have to do
That little chunk right there.
Unfortunately, I cannot show this on the screen because I don't have an electronic copy in our packet. Oh, that's the wrong one. Try to pull it up for people. Maybe I do. I do. Okay.
So there's definitely an electronic copy in there.
Yeah, okay. Hold on.
And so, can I ask another question, Sarah?
Yeah, go ahead.
So Adam, on the actual application itself, where does it say that?
I think it's in paragraph number 2.
The division of the tract of land shown. And that's parcel A?
Okay.
Is that it?
So if you look on the screen, I'm showing parcel A.
Okay. So it just didn't identify it, but it's parcel A. Correct?
You're keeping lot 8, which is a lot, parcel A, which is non-buildable.
Right. It just would be great to have
So here's
spell
the-
it out.
House it goes to. I'll show it to you.
Unfortunately, the application doesn't really let you check that box. So the language is a little wacky.
So in terms of the note,
So that's-
revised lot 8 has a
the niche
total,
we're adding is right,
we just go through the notes for a minute. Revised lot A has a total contiguous frontage,
this is a chunk
281
right
feet
there.
on C Street.
This doesn't reflect that
Hold
at
on.
all.
I think I see where it is,
Oh,
the
okay,
little tiny thing here.
yeah.
All right.
Because there's the King House. And it's rear turn.
So this application doesn't reflect what we were just talking about, that little small parcel. That's
Yeah, no, it does.
the
So I have,
challenge.
I'll wait my turn if it.
Go ahead, Mary.
So the application isn't complete, so there's nothing is selected for number,
It's number 2 is what this is.
so you're supposed to select, if it's public way, a way shown on a plan, C, a private way. Nothing is selected, and then description 2 does not spell out that there is a new lot A, which is not labeled on the map either. My other concern with,
But Mary, it's parcel A on the map.
It is called parcel A, it's true, but it doesn't identify anything in the description.
yeah, so the application would have to match that, and the map with the notes, is assuming, I don't know which one. When it starts saying the construction access path to C Street meets, the construction access driveway entrance, there has never been an approved driveway entrance there. So that would need to come off the map. And it says that it meets the standards of a common driveway, but I don't think we've seen this lot for a common driveway, have we? We approved?
I don't think the common driveway actually requires, went back and looked at that.
Okay.
yeah.
So
But common to what?
well, yeah, so my fear is that a board decision in the affirmative says that everything that's labeled and said on this map is accurate, and I don't agree with that.
So I
I'm
did,
sorry to interrupt. Can anyone hear me?
yes.
There's no audio coming through.
Oh,
Yeah, there's something wrong with the audio coming from the room, it seems.
okay, I might have muted everybody. Did it just change?
It was gone for like a minute or so.
Coming to the US anytime soon.
Okay, hold on. First of all, thank you for letting us know. Let me
Thank
see
you.
what we can do. I think is that better?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay, I muted everybody by accident, trying to avoid,
Zoom on.
I now know where that button is, so that's good. Okay, so,
You want me to repeat that?
yeah,
Or?
we're discussing the note. Mary was just making the point about the notes, which I do want to go through one by one. And so Mark, I believe, asked this Michelle Rondazzo today about our ability to make notations on the Mylar concerning the notes. And she indicated that we can actually write on the Mylar or And also, if you look under the date, under the signature lines and date, it says endorsement by the planning board is not a determination as to conformance with zoning. No official verification of any wetlands has been made or intended by the planning board endorsement. And I think she indicated that we could add, it's not a determination of conformance with driveway regulations, curb cut regulations, fire protection
Frontage, assuming
regulations.
frontage.
Frontage would be a zoning requirement, or we could add.
Can we just cross off the notes?
Yeah, because it's not applicable to,
She did not indicate that. She said we would add a notation.
You can add a notation,
Notation, but not.
to alter what was.
Yeah. So similarly, if we had I was reading in the case law that you can note if something is not a building lot. In this case, parcel A is noted as not a building lot. So we did ask her just this morning about that. Is that correct?
That's correct. Actually, we discussed that at a previous meeting for a different
Different parcel,
Format.
different format. Okay.
that had a non-buildable parcel.
did you ask town council, can we even review One Spy Rock as there's ongoing litigation on this property?
I didn't ask her, but they're entitled to submit other plans regardless of ongoing litigation.
I just find it confusing to look at all of this when really we're looking for some small specific portion of that.
I think they have to show us the entirety of.
And also
Okay.
the
Lot eight.
write-up, the write-up is a bit confusing and the notes are confusing
The
too.
write-up is a bit archaic with section 2, but that's the language that.
Yeah.
You're basically taking one parcel of land and creating one lot of land, creating a parcel and a lot. Just a lot is a buildable lot, and a parcel is a parcel. You don't need to meet the area.
Yeah.
Well, what applicants do is they put they can put a descriptive on the map, on the Mylar, they'll say, define what lot A is.
I think it does. It says lot, it says parcel A, not a buildable lot on my lot.
It says it on the bottom of it.
The other
It
thing,
goes into more detail.
the other issue, so let's go through the notes. Revised lot 8 has a total frontage of 281 feet on C Street and total contiguous frontage of 154 feet on Spy Rock Hill. And that's its current frontage and it's not changing. Am I correct on that?
Correct.
Okay, the proposed approved.
Could we define what frontage is? Is it, for our purposes, frontage means usually buildable frontage.
I think
How are we defining
I think
frontage?
frontage
Frontage is defined as what the zoning bylaw.
I think frontage is just along a public way.
Can
So
I ask a question on
Yeah,
the first
absolutely.
note, though?
Yeah.
And so the access to the revised lot A is from Spy Rock Hill Road, correct?
Correct, and the
And-
construction access on C Street.
Talking about lot A.
I'm talking
No,
about
lot
lot
With
Lot
lot
eight.
8, lot 8.
8. Lot 8, because we have
That's
two
correct.
parcels here.
It's
so we have
right,
to
lot
make
8,
sure
it's
both-
access- It has access from
Spy Rock
Rock
Hill.
Hill Road,
Right,
correct.
and that's it.
And well, there's also a construction entrance on C Street as we've seen, but
So
that's
Well,
just.
we
a-
would
that's the
listen
third
to
note.
that.
Let's
Just a
come to that.
temporary construction act.
The second note is the proposed approved pavement on both lots meets or exceeds all common drive design standard contained in section 8.4.
Right, that's the
So-
common drive.
But certainly the common drive does not access, there are two lots in question here, lot 8 and lot A. So the common driveway doesn't access lot A.
No, it would access the existing house and the accessory structure. All he's saying.
But
is that-
they're all
It's
one
nothing
parcel
to
right
do-
now.
But what he's
with-
saying is that it meets what he's saying is that it meets the technical criteria if it were to serve as a common driveway.
But it says on both lots. And right in this parcel, we have lot
That's
A and Lot 8. And the pavement that is the common driveway does not access one
I
of
think what
those
he would say
parcels.
is probably the parcel and the lot.
But it
Parcel
doesn't
and a
say
lot.
that.
That's okay.
Um,
You're not passing on, all these notes, I mean, you're not, when you endorse a plan, you're not passing on the surveyor's note. You're just saying the plan doesn't show
I
subdivision.
think the planning board can decide what we're doing and what we're not doing.
No, as a matter of law, when you endorse a plan, you're not certifying us to zoning. You're not certifying us to the setbacks.
For
You're-
multiple reasons, I'm sure we're going to go through this with a fine tooth comb.
That's fine,
And
we're
so
fine.
I
That's-
think-
That's a fair, that might be a fair point. I think that what it meant to say is on entire property, that pavement would comply with common drive. There's, right?
The third note is the construction access path to C Street meets the 15% slope requirements of the Manchester Fire Department's new driveway requirements for fire truck and emergency vehicles. So, again, I don't think this plan allows us to make that determination.
No, yeah, I don't, I think what the surveyor and the design team were trying to do, because of all the focus on the site, is to try to demonstrate that what is as built, what exists on the ground, meets the requirement.
I think in order for us to determine that, we would need an engineer to go out and look at that.
Right, but you're,
process.
remember, again, when you're endorsing a plan, you're not making a determination.
Then why is it on this application?
Yeah, it's
I know, I
irrelevant
think-
to, I think we can, you said we can't strike certain items? I mean, it's irrelevant to the A&R in front of us is the
The
point.
reason, I think the reason, to answer your question, the reason why I think the design team put it on there is because, again, there's a lot of focus and attention on the site. They're concerned and they want to make sure that they're doing the right thing and building something that complies with our laws. And so I think they've done the calculations and the measurements and they just want to reflect that on the plan. I think that's.
So I think the board, without discussing pending litigation,
Of course,
it's a matter of public record that there's pending litigation. And so this plan doesn't want, we are being careful that we're not
100%.
hurting.
And I
the town's
because
case.
I discussed this with Mark on Friday also. There's no, we do not, the applicants do not think at all that you're certifying or affirming or making any kind of determination about zoning. That's in, I mean, that language that we have in the certification, that comes verbatim from the application. And as I was discussing with Mark, we mentioned any other laws, regulations, driveway entrances, we're not asking for confirm anything.
But you're not representing the applicant in the subsequent proceeding.
I'm local counsel.
You are?
Yes, yes.
Sir, could we talk amongst the board first and then
Yeah.
ask, yeah.
Absolutely. And then I do have one other question for the applicant, just that's relevant to the application, and that is, and maybe, so the applicant has not filed a complete application. And now this complete we're kind of in, we need to get a handle on this with town clerk, because the town clerk, it says right in the application, 10 prints of the plan, 10 executed copies of the Form A, check of $250 per lot. So looks like $500 was received on March 24th. But we don't have 10 prints of the plan. I don't think we can deny an A&R for that, but going forward, Mark, we have to figure out how we get, before a plan is stamped for an A&R, it has to go to you first to make sure it's complete or
And
something.
part of the complete is this part too.
I mean, and it seems to me that
Do you
at this
agree?
point, the applicant
Or just-
should know
No.
that this is the process.
We would have, if I had known, I would have gladly brought.
Yeah, no, but whoever, you represent the applicant, so it's just a little frustrating, and I'm conveying my frustration.
So I think part of the application is the checklist, and we used to get the checklist checked off or not checked off.
Right.
So I think that'll help in the review process.
So it's my opinion that we can't deny the A&R based on that, but for sure, this has to be something we do a little better on. So that said, okay, Mary, let's, yeah, I think you appropriately asked that we discuss among ourselves, so you have
In public.
suggestions?
Well, I think, I mean, I don't know what town council said as far as what we can change with notes. If the notes are here, you know, we can say, beside each one, irrelevant to this A&R application, or we can strike out certain sentences and words. You know, to me, this appears to be some sort of selling point on something that is, again, totally irrelevant to the A&R in front of us. So I don't want to see any board decision then coming back that, oh, these words were on it and you approved this A&R with this map. So we need some guidance on what we can take off with notes. So if we can get a better understanding of what the discussion with town council was, that would be helpful.
For asking you that question. She basically replied to an email where she said you can add a note saying that the driveway is, you're not making, the board's not making, I believe I wrote down over there, the board's not making a determination as to the compliance with the driveway regulations or curb cut regulations, which is essentially the same thing as the current note, which talks about the zoning. And you can add that because you're not making a determination. The surveyor who surveyed the thing has made a determination based on his calculations that it meets certain slope and width requirements or certain pavement requirements. But yes, you have not reviewed that, so you can add that note saying that you're not endorsing it for those purposes.
And just to answer your specific question, I did ask, Mark asked her, and I said, can we simply strike the notes on the Mylar in the same way boards are allowed to indicate on a Mylar that a lot is not a building lot? And she did not answer that, so I'm catching up here. She said if the planning board has these concerns, you could add an additional, more specific reference to the plan where it says the planning board is not making zoning determinations, including reference to the driveways or to fire access or any other, I would presume. But she was silent on whether we can strike something. So Mark's professional opinion is we can't strike and that we
Yeah,
can
because
simply
the
add
surveyor is making a
notations.
representation, he stamped it, signed it, so I would be advised against altering the plan, but adding a note saying that you're not making a determination.
Are there any notes that we agree with?
I think we agree with the frontage note.
So we could say that endorsing this plan, we accept the note about frontage and make no determination as to the other notes.
But you wouldn't say that by endorsing it, you are,
Simply noting it on the,
yeah, it's more about, it's the two things you're concerned about.
It's three.
briefing. Yeah. Just a procedural question. The applicant previously in April asked for an A&R for what is now a different lot 8. How does that spin out if that were to be found that they were entitled to that A&R? Like now you got a different lot 8. This modifies lot 8. I'm just curious. I guess it's my lawyers are here, but we'd have to actually come back and they'd have to bring the A&R back to us, right?
Not necessarily, it depends if they make the conveyance of the non-buildable parcel between now and the settlement of the other A&R. And if they, I don't know if they would then subsequently have to
They'd have to come back.
bring it back. I
different
don't
lot
think
8.
so. Yeah, but
Seems to me.
it was filed prior to. And if they don't make the conveyance, then I don't think that they have to do it.
Okay. Just out of curiosity.
I can answer if you want. You wouldn't have to, they'd just be different deeds. You'd have a lot 8 become lot 8 minus parcel A. It's not registered land, so you change these different deeds. Nothing happens. You know, reports.
Okay. Other discussion?
I find it challenging that we're talking about this tiny little parcel here, but yet nowhere could I find on this or this that it says that you want to take that tiny little parcel and make it, and convey it to that next door. I just didn't see it anywhere.
That's what number 2 in the application says. It's confusing because.
Well, I mean, I agree with you.
Your application doesn't have like a little blank just to write in like a different story, and you kind of have to.
Well, then maybe on the drawing, it should have been more clearly identified that it's this tiny little portion of Ace going to the neighbor next door.
Yeah, you never write that it's gonna be a conveyance on the plan itself, because that's a deed that you would do separately.
Yeah, well, just something that indicates that what's happening.
Applicants usually do it on,
To be conveyed. We see it on the plans all the time.
Yeah,
But it's not required, so if someone is dividing, has a lot of frontage and is dividing off 5 lots that they, and some pieces in the back which may or may not get conveyed, that's not unusual. Or a bigger Form A that you probably don't see here. So,
I don't disagree with any of that, Mark. Matter of fact, I don't see anything wrong with actually that little
Yeah.
parcel A going to the next. I just can't find it in the drawing,
go
I
use
can't
bigger
find it in the
fonts.
form, that's what we're approving.
it's usually on the front page under where they describe that they're saying lot, and the applicant usually says conveying to abutting property, blah, 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 blah.
Or just
And-
something that gives us a little, right now I can't tell.
Because it makes it, we have no idea if this is staying in the ownership of lot 8 or going to somebody else.
But I think that is, as we talked about with
Irrelevant.
10 Union Street.
Yeah, it
Um,
doesn't matter.
It's irrelevant,
it's
yes,
irrelevant.
but
Yeah. Okay, other discussion? As is our practice, if people have, if the public has any brief comments, I'd be happy to hear them. Keep your hand up.
are we going through the other points?
Oh, the other what?
The other notes?
Oh, I thought we just did.
Aren't we gonna, I mean, what note are we putting next to construction access?
I don't think we've decided that yet.
Oh.
I thought we'd hear from people and then we'll resolve. what
Oh,
we're
I
gonna
got you, okay.
do. Sandy Rogers. Sandy R, I assume that's Sandy Rogers. Oops, sorry. I just might have muted you again. Go ahead.
Yeah, Sandy Rogers, 82 Old Essex Road. I just sort of have a question more than a comment, is I just want to understand what's transpiring here. Is there a request to split up a lot even though it's not buildable, and it would be a future determination of a different legal form to state that access is just through Spy Rock? Is there some type of easements that get determined afterwards? I guess I'm just trying to understand the purpose of this A&R.
Yeah, the purpose of this A and R is to, let me see my source, is to divide lot 8, which is on Spy Rock Hill and C Street and Spy Rock Hill, and divide off this very small 230 square feet parcel, which is not a buildable lot. And because, so now we have 2 lots, lot A, which is this tiny thing, and lot 8. And there is no access required for parcel A because it is not a building lot. And all of the discussion of the prior Form A, which divided lot 8 into 2 lots, or proposed to, is not what we're talking about here. So, so it's simply the division of this very small parcel A, 230 square feet, not a buildable lot, thus it does not need to have frontage, it does not need to have access, it does not need to have, meet the requirements of zoning.
Okay, that's what I thought. I just wanted to have that clear. Thank you very much.
Okay, go ahead. Anybody else? Sarah Pierce?
Hi, yes, thank you. Sarah Pierce, 9 Front Street. I guess I'm just wondering, how does this benefit the owners of Spire Rock and/or, I'm assuming this is the small house at the left of the train tracks? Like, what is the purpose in doing this?
I don't think that we can,
It's not our
not,
purview.
it's not our business to know that.
Well, okay, so I guess I'm just saying, like, if I wanted to give 34 feet of my land to my next door neighbor, that's all you would need to do is come in front of the board and get an approval for that, and that, I'm just trying to understand the process of what, like, how and why.
If it's not a buildable lot, and we certainly can't speak to your particular parcel, but,
Right,
you can carve off something that is not a buildable lot.
and where is the construction access driveway in relation to this little lot?
Well, I'd call it a utility access path, and it's here on C Street.
Oh, okay. It's hard, this is really difficult to read with all of the
Yep.
different little jet outs and,
Yep.
you know, I can't see what is what, so it's not clearly labeled to me, but okay, thank you, I was just trying to understand.
Okay, any other comments? Let's see. Okay, seeing none, I'm gonna come back to the board. So it seems like we would, our sense is we would like to add some sort of statement that says endorsement by the planning board is not a determination as to conformance with zoning regulations. So maybe say, we could add in driveway regulations, fire access regulations, emergency vehicle access. And zoning regulations, which already
I
says
would
zoning.
say, I would go, sorry, Sarah. Okay. I would use the exact language of the notes.
Yep.
And say that we make no determination that the proposed approved payment on both lots meets or exceeds all common driveway, blah, 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 or the construction. I would just
Write that
say
whole
the
thing out.
exact language of each one so that it's very.
Okay, so basically, under the notes, just repeat.
The second, third, and fourth.
The fourth one is already included in the wetlands, up under the,
No, the construction access driveway entrance on revised.
oh yeah, sorry, there's 1,
Yeah.
2, 3, yeah, okay.
Like the middle three.
Is that a motion?
So the
Not yet, I'm just
Okay,
trying to add to the discussion on what we should write on the
you have to
plan.
write really small.
I know.
Well, I think you should just keep it simple to say that you're not endorsing, as I wrote there, making a determination as to compliance with or conformance with driveway regulations and curb cut regulations
And common driveway
and
regulations.
okay, common driveway.
I actually think that's,
I would just list those three. Actually, I would list the fourth one would be the fire access.
fire and emergency.
And I would just list the four things: so common driveway, common driveways. And,
I would agree with what
regulations.
Sue said, because I think it's leaving us a little vulnerable. It's saying we're not making a determination, but it's saying what is written on here could be true, and,
Well, the surveyor is representing that it is true. So
Could
you
be
haven't,
true.
you haven't reviewed it
Right.
to
see
know whether
or
it's
not.
true or not. So you can't say it's not true. You can't strike it. You can just say you're not making a determination.
but I think we have to be, what Sue was saying, clear, because one, you know, there has been no driveway entrance approved, so the surveyor would not know that or know that, right? Like there is a construction access point. So I think if we go through the 2, 3, and 4, how Sue had worded it, I think we're closing a tighter loop than saying,
Was that a motion to endorse the A and R with addition of the notes that the endorsement by the planning board is not a determination as to the conformance with, and then specifically say that the proposed approved pavement on both lots meets or exceeds the common driveway standards contained in section 8.4 of the Manchester zoning, or the construction access path to C Street meets the 15% slope requirement of the Manchester Fire Department, new driveway requirements for fire trucks and emergency vehicle, or construction access driveway entrance, or that the construction driveway entrance on the revised lot 8 completed the adequacy of, or something, adequacy of. Is that a motion?
kind of, yeah, I
Be added,
guess.
that those notes be added to the plan.
And I guess I would like, personally, I would like to add that we are even reviewing this property per the instruction of town council, that we can do that during the litigation process. Because I don't think we can, but I just wanted to know that town council gave their
Okay, she's obviously aware, she was aware of this and she's aware of the litigation, so I think she would have advised us.
Yeah, I mean, she would have said, no, you can't,
Right.
if this was submitted. But yes, the applicant's entitled to continue to submit applications for this property.
Okay. So a motion to endorse with those notes added and a note that, and a note for the record that we can do this given pending appeal of the prior A&R.
I hate to keep pushing this
It's
issue.
okay.
We have to make some note on here of what this A&R is for. It's all it is for that parcel A to join someone.
think
But where is that written that describes what this is? So someone if read this cold after the fact, they would not know what this is about.
I think they would know that Lot A is,
Where does it mention Lot A anywhere other
The
than
plan
that
is
one?
what gets recorded, so the plan speaks for itself.
So this is, we're gonna say this is gonna tell me that that's going to that parcel.
Well, it doesn't,
It does, that's
we
not,
can't make that, all we're doing is creating that parcel, so it can be,
No, I
Okay.
agree with you, Chris. I just,
I
I
agree
have
with
trouble
you.
finding the thread that tells me that that's all we're talking about right there.
I think you have to spell out what 2 lots you're approving.
Yeah, I would agree.
you're looking a little too far into this. An A&R is really meant to be a simple plan that divides a parcel into one or more pieces, and the plans should show what is intended to do. And so transfer of ownership is irrelevant. It's just the
I'm
division.
100% on you, Mark. I just can't,
Right.
I can't find that thread anywhere reading this at all.
So if that is what's signed, that is what needs clarity. Period.
It is.
one other note is that I believe the zoning district is District A, not District FR-A.
Yeah, I think we pointed that out.
So,
But since you think we're pushing too hard on the rope here.
Yes, I'm trying to keep
Could I ask
keep
one
us
more
out
question?
from
Oh, I
more
agree the
from
A&R, I
additional
agree the A&R
litigation.
should be
Yes.
approved. I just don't know what I'm.
Can I ask one more question on the map? So under the, above or below the seal? Below the seal. It says, plan date, petition date. Prior A&Rs that we received are survey date and application date. What does plan date and what does petition date mean, I guess? What are we petitioning?
Where's that?
This is the original plan for
The other one, exactly.
Mary, where are you?
So it's
Right
right above county land surveys at the bottom.
plan date and petition date.
Oh, yes.
Plan is the survey and the petition is the application. I think that terminology should actually be here for me.
The application
So it wasn't on
date
the
is
first one, so
24th of
we're
May.
changing wording. So I think the map is what's filed with the court, right? For an A&R, So-
Register of Deeds.
Register of Deeds. So I think we have to be very clear.
I'm not worried about that. Maybe I should be.
The other ones.
Yeah, because really it's that.
Okay, so, we have a,
It's a good catch, though.
I would, do I have a,
Do you mind reading those back?
okay, so endorse the plan of land for Elizabeth Kinder and Timothy McDonald. Plan date, April 14th, 2025. Scale 1 inch equals 40 feet, as approval not required. And add to the Mylar the following. Endorsement by the plan is not a determination as to conformance with or can I say agreement with?
Yeah, why don't we say that? It makes more sense.
Agreement with the following. 1, the proposed approved pavement on both lots meets or exceeds all common driveway standards contained in section 8.4 of the Manchester zoning bylaw. 2, construction access path to C Street meets the 15% slope requirements of the Manchester Fire Department's new driveway requirements for fire trucks and emergency vehicles. And 3, construction access driveway entrance on revised lot 8, completed August of 2022, meets driveway or curb cut standards. Yeah, otherwise it's right. Something like that.
Are you saying, when you say agreement, what are you?
I don't agree that
We could say agreement with the notes that state,
state.
and then we
Well,
Yeah.
we can't agree or disagree, we just haven't made a determination.
well, what would
True.
you like to say?
Yeah,
With
yes,
that-
the issue is actually we're
because
not
they may
determining
all
as to the conformance
Right, right.
with zoning. That's why I kind of think Mark's
be- Yeah, I think it's,
suggestions is better.
Okay.
Yeah, with driveway regulations, fire, emergency access, curb cut regulations, that we're not saying that it's conforming with those. Because when we try to restate the notes, it kind of
Right.
gets convoluted.
You're right, you're right.
Okay,
I'm just
so,
nervous.
yeah, is not a determination as the conformance with driveway regulations, curb cut regulations, fire and emergency vehicle access requirements, or common driveway requirements.
Yeah, that's good.
Yes, those are the 4 things.
I'll second that. If that's a motion.
It is a motion.
Recorded, so we
Curb
can
cut,
play it back.
cut and fire and requirements, yeah. Okay. Not termination. That's to conformance with. All right. So Chris has moved.
No, I'll move it. That's
Do I have a
fine.
second?
I'll second it.
Any other discussion? Okay.
I will say for the record that I think we are not doing the right thing. I think because we even have the next one coming up in front of us, which we always have on these in the notes. It describes what's being split, describes which one is not buildable.
You're referring to
Boom,
that?
boom, boom. Yes.
Should we add a note to, an additional note, this plan?
It would
as,
be,
Is
the
the purpose
clarity
of
of
this
this
plan?
note. I
Yeah,
read this, I saw the drawing, I
Yeah.
reviewed it, I read that note, I knew exactly what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
That
okay,
was-
let's add a
I
note.
even
Purpose of
highlighted
this
it.
plan is to divide Lot A from Lot 8.
Yeah, I like
Okay.
that.
And Lot A is not a buildable lot.
Lot A is
Parcel, parcel.
parcel. Thank you. All right, amend.
I amend.
Okay, do I have a second?
I second it.
Okay. Divide parcel A. from 8. Okay, any other discussion? Thank you,
And
Mary.
I just want to make a comment, and I won't make it direct, I'll make it
Yeah.
to the chair, that I just think this is filed disingenuously, is that's my view of it. It's it was soon after we made a decision that went against the applicants on another A&R. And I also, and so to me, I question why the notes are there on this A&R and why this one was filed. And my final comment is that our form may not be perfect, but it's no reason to not fill it out and give us the information that we're requesting in some fashion.
And the number of copies that we need.
Yes, and the number.
Okay, thank you, Sue. Any other discussion? I'll take all in favor? Opposed? Abstain? Mary's abstained. So we have four, 1 abstention, and no no's. Okay, thank you. The next item of business is approval not required for 329 Summer Street.
It's your nameplate.
It's okay. It's
She's
about the way I feel now.
No. Do we have an applicant here?
Ed Scott.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Scott. Can you, I don't see the, is it in our file?
Yeah,
It is? I see the application, but I don't see the plan. I was trying to bring it up.
The plan is not in file.
Yeah. Okay, the plan, unfortunately, the plan is not in the file, so we're gonna work from paper. Go ahead, explain to us what you're doing.
Okay, pretty simple.
Sorry, introduce yourself.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm Ed Scott. I'm on the properties at 323 and 329 Summer Street. they're contiguous even though the numbers are not, which I've never understood, and I've lived there my whole life. But, years ago, someone told me if I was smart at my property at 323, the existing lot is something like 4,600 square feet, which is basically useless. And they said, since you have all this land next door, that it would make sense to just add land to 323 from 329, just to make it a more usable lot. And we did, I did go to the zoning.
Is that
board.
effectively it, the yellow line?
Yeah, actually, I've got a enlarged copy if you want.
Careful there.
That's not good.
That's not good.
Could have been worse.
I've been working with Joe Smallage at Hancock Survey, and this is the existing lot here.
Mhm.
And actually, sorry. This isn't as big, but it still shows it. This is the existing lot at 323, and this is all 329.
Okay,
This whole thing.
yeah. You
So-
show it to Sue.
Sorry.
Great. Thank you.
That's the small lot that I'm trying to. It's just if you ever wanted to do anything, there's just no place to do anything the way it is now. So all we've done is just add this land to 323. Taking it away from 329 makes it 17,000 and change here, and this stays at 41,000 square
So
feet.
you literally are just
Pretty
drawing
much
that
drawing a
line.
straight line.
The way I did,
Yeah.
the way I did that, the way you showed that property line is what you're doing.
Yeah,
So you're literally taking them to.
yeah. Just to, we did get relief from the zoning board. It's been approved by the zoning board. This is along the building. The existing is 4 feet, so we just asked for relief for the extent of the building for the 4-foot setback, just so it didn't draw halfway across the backyard.
So this is, all of this is parcel A, is that correct?
That's good. This will all be one parcel now. This it shows it better here. This is the new parcel.
That's the new parcel.
Yep.
So this was parcel A and this was parcel,
They're dividing parcel A from
Yeah.
lot 1.
right?
Interesting, I have that little piece,
That
that little sliver.
goes back years.
This little chunk
Yeah.
right here.
My father bought a small piece from our neighbors
Huh.
when I was a kid to make the driveway going down back. There wasn't enough space for the driveway. So they bought the little tie-shaped piece.
All right, seems here.
So you want to create this,
We will create this.
you want to create that
Yeah.
from this, just literally. And the pink parcel is still a standalone parcel, am I right?
Yeah.
Or wrong?
Yeah.
Okay, so the house is still the house.
Yep.
And you're just conveying all of this to this guy over here,
We're conveying this to this guy.
this to this guy.
Yeah, this will become like 17,000 square feet.
All right, so it'll look like the pink you got.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And then, so the garage was on lot 1,
Yeah.
but
No,
it's the
it's now-
garage for,
It's now going to go to 323.
and where's the other street?
Yeah, this is the driveway here, this is the driveway over here.
This is a driveway as well, correct?
Yes.
Right
Yep.
through here, this.
Yeah.
All right. Any other discussion?
Very well filled out application.
I was about to say it, so
It has a little arrow, exactly where we need to go.
I understood exactly what you're trying to do.
I give all credit to Joe Swallow for that survey.
Any other comments from the board?
Move that the
Wait a minute, I'm
planning-
gonna see if there's any public comment. Any public comment on 329 Summer Street? Okay, seeing none.
So I'm going to move that the planning board endorse the A&R application to subdivide property at 323 and 329 Summer Street, as shown on plan dated April 21st, 2025, at a scale of 1 inch equals 20 feet.
It's just at 329, not 323. Isn't getting any division.
Oh, well, okay. So 329.
Second,
Second?
any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I'm in favor, none opposed. Great, thank you. That one is so easy. If you want, you can endorse that plan, Mylar right now, or you can pick it up at, pick it up at the planner's office
Yeah.
tomorrow. I'll endorse it tonight. Okay. Great, thank you. That's easy. Okay, the next topic is discussion concerning the downtown visioning and work plan project. As we discussed last time, I believe, Kathy McCabe has started work. Greg approved her contract, I believe. And given that we're trying to, this money is FY '25 money, and the downtown issues seem pressing, we thought that Mark suggested is that have her go and talk to some of the boards who only meet once a month, like the Historic Commission and the maybe the DIP. And then she will be meeting with us on the 28th. The other piece is the thought was potentially to have a public forum where we get input, but I think we can hold on setting a final date for that till 28th. You had proposed a date of June 9th,
Right.
which is our regular meeting.
Regular meeting night.
Which we could do,
It's early.
except that it's your way.
On the 9th, I'm
Oh,
here.
you're here, okay.
On the 27th,
Your
I'm
way,
not here,
yeah.
but I'm here on the
Yeah.
28th.
My only concern is that if we have regular business and we have a public forum, that's sometimes sometimes an A&R could take an hour.
Hopefully they won't.
Hopefully not.
Do we know if there's this much regular business in the night?
We don't know.
Not at this time.
Yeah, but you never know.
We don't know what's going to
So why don't we tentatively use our June 9th meeting to have a forum, sort of an engagement with the public about downtown issues. It's possible we might need to have a second conversation with Kathy ourselves subsequent.
Yeah.
Certainly, we will have many conversations with her subsequently. But I think we kind of know what the issues are. We can convey them to her on the 28th, or at least what the big issues are. What the solutions are, we don't have to. The purpose of this exercise is to begin to think about solutions, think about scoping, and so forth.
And so she's going to want to get your individual feedback about what you envision should happen to the downtown on the 27th. So just like she's meeting with a couple other boards to get their feedback, she wants to get your feedback as well. And then the 9th would be the big public feedback, and also to try and bring out, ideas for solutions to what she hears and what people bring up and what's been brought up before. So then, she'll work on trying to put together what you call it, a work plan, an outline of tasks, short-term, long-term, things that can be done that we can study, bigger project later. So,
So Mark, when do you see the downtown improvement actually being presented? When would they be a presentation to them?
so Kathy is going to go meet with them to get their feedback, just as.
When's their next meeting?
She's gonna, it varies a little bit, but it's generally like the third Wednesday of the month.
Yeah, she's already been in touch with Steve
Steve?
about their next meeting, so I don't recall what the date is, so.
It may be next week. He's on vacation now for a bit.
Oh, okay. So,
But it's certainly downtown improvement is gonna be involved along the way. This
Yeah, I
isn't a
would-
one and done.
I would highly, you've been on those meetings. I highly recommend it. They're a rebel rousing group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are there minutes from there?
Yes,
Okay.
I keep them.
You keep them.
Yeah.
All right. So it'd be good to get her the minutes from that group, I think, in particular.
Yeah,
And
let's
I
do
know
it.
she's already read the master
So
plan.
it's a revolving secretary. I took it for the first 3 months of this year, and then.
That was nice of you.
Then God did it. Then I'm doing this next one too. So, but all discussion is in there, talking about the downtown and issues and ways to. It's all in there. Happy to forward all those meeting minutes to her.
but they should all be on the
They should be, but I don't believe they are. They go to Steve, and I'm not sure Steve actually posts them. So he may.
Oh, okay.
He may.
Maybe you guys can
But I've
coordinate
got-
about it.
I've got
I'll
Yeah,
talk
okay.
and figure that out.
Yeah.
Great.
Actually, I'll forward them right to you, and you can do with them what you like.
Okay, so more to come
Mm-hmm.
on that, but we wanted to kind of let you know that this is starting a little bit out of sequence, but given the urgency of conversations about what's going on downtown and seems to be on everybody's mind, so we wanted to get going. So,
Exciting stuff.
yeah, go ahead.
Say one thing, yeah, so, I won't be here, so.
You can
But I think
come.
it's, no, thank you. I think it's a good idea, for the planning board to be doing this, obviously. I would hope to see the planning board also doing what is the function of the planning board, which is doing studies for all of the resources and needs of the town. I hear a lot of discussions at other board meetings, select board, land use for DPW or police and fire, and that type of thing really should be, if not highly involved with the planning board, coming from the planning board. That is our, what we're here to do, is to do the studies, and it's right on our, webpage. Consider all land use and the layout and functioning of the public ways and how they affect public health and safety. So land use being how we're using town land. So I would hope that the planning board expands upon what really is one of the main reasons we're here.
Thank you. Also on the downtown, did you have any update on the one-stop grant or any information you want to share with us other than what you've already talked about?
Not really. I mean, we're in the process of putting the application together. We submitted early June, and again, for a more comprehensive look at the entire general district. Kind of building on the vision for the core area of downtown, trying to expand that to the entire general district, and then based on what we hear, parcel, change certain zoning, move some zoning lines, create, 1 or 2 new districts, and what that would include. And actually, the whole point of this would be to actually, just like the MBTA, is get an actual document that we can bring to town. As well as streetscape plan for downtown, work with an engineering firm and landscape firm, bring in a revised, updated streetscape plan for the downtown, and whatever else becomes identified, whether it's changes to local sign bylaws, historic regulations. That's why we're trying to incorporate everybody into these meetings as well as the future ones.
So can you have an outline of what you're sort of proposing when you, for the next, for the 28th? That'd be part of that discussion. I think you may want to try to prioritize certain aspects of that, and whether One Stop pays for all of it, or if there's a town match, or how that actually does that work. Or if you can also send us all the link to the One Stop. Yeah, I think that'd be appreciated. Great. Any other discussion on downtown?
I just have one question for Mark. That broader view for the whole downtown area beyond this scoping system, how long do you see that duration from visioning plan to work plan to actually implementing anything?
So I think this little visioning project we're doing and coming up with a work plan is kind of the basis for the next thing. And there may be some things we identify during this process that we can work on as planning board or as other committees of boards for upcoming town meetings. But the bigger project would begin probably the first of next year, carry on for 6 or 8 months for most of it. At least the zoning portion could be completed by, so for submittal to perhaps fall town meeting. At the latest,
Of 26.
at the latest would be the annual town meeting afterwards. But again, it depends what we hear. If we hear a very kind of the same thing from a lot of people, that we have a clear direction of what people want, then it becomes a little easier to put together a work plan and move forward with zoning changes and the like. So again, you can't really predict exactly, but that's kind of the timing. And then that would allow us to, same thing with like seeking streetscape funding, we would be able to perhaps follow that up. The annual, the next grant cycle to try to get funding for that.
Okay. Great. The next item is the appointments of associate members. We're not going to appoint anybody tonight, but ask around.
I appoint Mary Foley.
And Laura Tenney. Start asking around for people who might be interested in being associate members. If you can have Greg include that in his
The tide.
and I think it would be good to try to appoint somebody maybe in our first meeting in July. So maybe if we can get an applications, letters of interest by July 1st as a, well, we have to meet with
Probably another, we should wait before anyone gets appointed till we hear back from the Attorney General.
Okay.
That's typically 90 days, unless we hear
I usually
early.
take all 89 and a half of them.
Generally,
Yeah.
yeah. So, I mean, I wouldn't try and appoint anyone until end of July, but maybe advertise.
For July 15th then.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So certainly start mentioning it to folks. It's important. The next thing I think we'll also just want to bring to your attention, it does seem that the driveway regulations need a little bit of additional tweaking, as does potentially the general bylaw. So just for the benefit of Gordon and Sue and Ryan, if he's if he were to be elected. The driveway curb cut, basically the driveway entrance, used to be the domain entirely of the planning board, and we went to, we had a public site walk every time there was a driveway application. And, Ron felt very strongly that the engineering aspects of the driveway should be evaluated by the DPW's engineers. And so we moved the responsibility to the DPW and we made a very narrow set of rules around driveway entrances. A single per lot, must be at 90 degrees, and so forth. And if they, do not comply with that, then they need to come to us. Subsequently, the fire chief has issued these safety regulations for driveways, which is a little bit different than driveway entrances. And our regulations seem to be a little cumbersome and lack clarity, a little bit of clarity. So we need to put that on our work plan and and my suggestion is that we have 2 people go. Mary and Ron worked on it. Now I think 2 people at the next. So think a little bit about if you want to jump in and do a small group that goes and makes recommendations back to us. So that's
I would
really.
envision we do that after the visioning session. That we kind of.
Yeah, I think
as a
but I think
follow-up,
the small
we'll
group
we'll
will
have
be
a
working
gap,
on it.
yeah.
It's separate. It's related to downtown, but it might.
Yeah.
So for example, driveways might have different rules depending on different districts too, that might be one thing that as we think about downtown, we may not want to have 2 entrances per lot, but in District D, that might be fine, for example. So I think,
So are you addressing the general bylaw, or are you addressing the rules and regulations?
I think they both need to be tweaked a little bit. I think they need to be evaluated. Clearly, the general bylaw exists until it's modified at town meeting, right? So the general bylaw exists until it's modified, but the regulations can be modified by us. And if we want to make any changes, I think the feeling of the building inspector and Chuck Dam, at least, is that we should make some modifications to the general bylaw.
So who is enforcing driveway entrances currently?
I think
That's
one of the issues.
One of the issues that there's no clarity. If you look at the general bylaw, many of the sections are identified as who's responsible for enforcing them, and this section
The drivers does
silence,
not
so,
specify.
Yeah, so that's one of the things, as well as like the submittal procedures and what needs to get done, and then with regulations, some of it's just a little too rigid, let's say. And so,
Well, and also,
I guess I would argue back in that because, and I was not for this article at town meeting, but residents voted that in. So
Right.
they voted in what you're saying is rigid, right? So, and again, I wasn't a fan of what was proposed. I thought it should stay with the planning board for all the reasons you're probably going to come up with when you review the driveway regulations. But I guess, and we brought this up when we were proposing the change, is what's the enforcement arm? And, told that we shouldn't be discussing that, that's not the planning board. But the town as an entity needed to have something in place, and they never did. So my question now, because I know of violations all through town, and I know our board has been made aware of some, who's enforcing it now, and what's the process? Or is it just a dead zone right now?
we can send out letters to people, but again, most people do go to Public Works and discuss their driveways with Chuck and or Nate, and we do go out and look at them. So the process is happening the way it's supposed to.
So what about the people that don't.
I'm only aware of one, so,
So where's that process?
and that's, that one, we need to kind of have some further discussions about that one, School Street. Because, appears that, there may have been a driveway there before and that this was an improvement to an existing second driveway, and so they're trying to look into that right now.
So I
So
guess
the
I-
answer to that one is Chuck has determined, I think, is that his opinion is that there was an existing unimproved curb cut where their now improved second driveway is. Is that correct?
Yes.
So I think we're waiting for Chuck to, so in that case, I think Chuck asked the applicant, they submitted some paper, to Chuck, if I'm reading correctly, and he's now gonna make a determination whether or not there was an existing second curb cut. And therefore, their curb, that he's simply saying that, it's an improvement of the already existing curb cut. So he's kind of looking at that with that new information. So, but enforcement is one of the deficiencies, you are correct, of, in my opinion, of the general bylaw. So, and you are also correct, in my opinion, that the general bylaw exists until it's modified at town meeting.
So my point is simply that, as a planning board, I wouldn't put it off too much. I think, as more and more building is going on, I think it's a black hole right now, and we need to figure out who's enforcing and how.
That's why we put it on the agenda. So to say this is coming. So I think we agree, and I think I want to see it get fixed by November. That's in a November town meeting or whenever the next town meeting makes sense. So I don't think it's that hard. I think it just needs somebody to really, again, sit down. Now that we've got the experience with the regulations, and go back and fix them a little bit. So, another matter not anticipated by the chair, because I didn't think about it, is I know Peter had, and we've talked about it a number of times, now that we already have driveways in downtown on our list. But Peter made the good suggestion, and I know Mary, you've made it before, but that we have a goal-setting discussion at one of our meetings. So I'll put that on an agenda for coming up. Make sure that we do agree that driveways and downtown and whatever other things on our list are priorities, because that fall town meeting comes up really fast, as we know. But we can get it done.
I just thought of a question back to downtown.
Yeah.
1 second. So when is geography to be determined or did we have you given the consultant direction as to what already constitutes downtown?
Well, I think that's also kind of up for discussion.
Okay,
Where do
great.
people think because the general district extends all the way from the boatyards across the harbor here, around through Central Street. It goes all the way up Summer Street to Lincoln,
Right.
and it goes up into Norwood Street and up School Street. So it's a bigger district than just the downtown. So the idea here is during this thing is to find out what people think of when they think of downtown.
Okay.
And it's kind of the beginnings of the next step, which would be the entire general district, and look at that whole thing. But here for kind of a quick and dirty visioning sessions, trying to put together, get people to start thinking about it, because it keeps coming up ever since I've started working here. So, yeah.
And it came up in both the select board and the planning board forums So clearly on. Also, okay, the other thing, correspondence, we have something from the Essex Planning Board, something from the longevity bench project. Did everybody get that?
Send money now.
There is a location for the bench in honor of Ron, and a conversation about maybe Memorial Day weekend, a dedication. I'll keep you posted once that's. There also, I just opened an email from Ann Harrison forwarding came to me at 5:38. But and she's forwarding it from Christine Delicio, so I'll just read it. We can forward the entirety of it to everyone. I'm writing to alert you to a matter concerning public safety and environmental compliance in our region. Paul Orlando, the building inspector for Manchester, as well as Rockport and Essex, has clarified that his responsibilities do not include oversight or enforcement related to hazardous materials. This is important to note as it may result in gaps in local compliance efforts related to the handling and disposal of hazardous, potentially hazardous construction materials. This concern is heightened by the City of Gloucester's current consideration of a permitting of a construction demolition debris transfer station on Condolin Road in Gloucester, and we did receive a public notice of that. I believe it was in our packets last time. Or it came by email, I can't recall. While such facilities can be part of a regional solution to waste management, it remains unclear whether Cape Ann as a whole has adequate systems in place to regulate, track, and safely dispose of construction debris, particularly when it may include hazardous components such as lead, asbestos, or treated wood. Given the potential public health and environmental implications, I strongly urge your department to review your local and regional procedures for regulating construction debris, clarify which agencies or departments are responsible for hazardous materials compliance, coordinate with neighboring communities to ensure consistent enforcement and public transparency, monitor developments in Gloucester, and participate in any public comment process regarding the proposed transfer station. Thank you for your attention to this important issue. Collaboration across Cape Ann will be critical to ensuring our communities are protected. Sincerely, Christine Delicio. I believe that there's a hearing tonight on that. Anybody know? There was it was in our last meeting's packet.
I don't know, but there's no hazardous waste material sites in Massachusetts. They have to be across state lines to dispose of. So that would be an interesting question, who oversees it for Manchester? Or this street, I think, or something like that. Whatever the one in Gloucester is, to make sure that there's somebody on site monitoring what gets dumped there.
I believe that the DEP has given their approval, their technical review. The hearing, it was in our email, May 7th at 5:30. Board of Health in Gloucester was taking. DEP has issued a site suitability report determining that the site is suitable for the proposed facility. I believe it's an enclosed facility.
Yes, they will build a building.
They're building a new building, a new solid waste handling facility, or waste demolition, C&D waste transfer station at 24 Condolin Road. There's actually a transfer station there now, I'm pretty sure.
There is.
Yeah.
It's right behind the section in Manchester that's Magnolia Avenue when you come out of the wood. Just behind those houses, between the tracks of 127.
If you come out of on Magnolia, out of Magnolia, and you go straight across 127, you go down that road, it's a left. There's a big industrial area out there. It's Gloucester, and we are notified because Manchester isn't. I think the town is notified.
Right, but those homes are right below it.
the,
We do have homes that have.
we have home, Manchester residents.
Right.
Yeah.
So
So,
if the building inspector, back to the email, if the building inspector does not certify that, a building, because I think if you have, you need certain letters of compliance for asbestos and lead paint. And I don't think our Board of Health gets it. Who gets it in town? Who makes sure that building sites are letter compliant?
I don't think there is a town department. I think the contractors are supposed to follow certain rules.
Well, to
for
follow
their
up on that, Mark, you're exactly
licenses.
right. There
Yeah.
is state mandated rules as to what waste goes where, so it's very rigid.
And
Any job I ever worked on, it was one of the mandatory things. Every project
Yes,
meeting we ever had every
manifests.
week talked about waste disposal, where it's going, certification. You have all the letters. Do all the contractors agree with this? Are they abiding by it? So that
but for residential, I think it might be a little loose.
residential is probably looser than the ones I worked on, yeah.
Yeah, but again, it's still the responsibility of the contractor.
Ultimately, yes.
Actually, so to Mary's question, one of the things that I would like us to do is just, because this comes up all the time, who enforces this, is to make a list of the various issues and a table that says hazardous waste, like who enforces driveways, who enforces the zoning, who enforces building code, who enforces, so that we and residents can know, and there's a lot of confusion for sure. So
I think that would be very helpful, and to have that out on the town website.
yeah, so I'd like to see us make that. I don't think it should, I think it shouldn't be hard for the big things, but there may be gray areas, and then where there are gray areas, let's plug the hole. So, okay. Minutes.
Just one more thing before we go to minutes here. We did get comments back on we did get the 90% drawings back for the rotunda. And I know DPW is asking us to look at the drawings to see if our comments have been included in them. I know Mark got a set. I got a set of the drawings too. He sent them to me directly.
Okay,
So,
Can we get a copy?
I actually communicated with Mark. I know we made comments back to him. All I really need, Mark, I'll do all the red line if there is red lines. I just need to know what comments we made and formally sent back to them to see if they were incorporated.
Yeah,
I can
no,
generate
I'll-
them.
Site
so
plan.
it's in the site plan review approval, so I'll forward that to you.
Okay.
Can you forward it to all of us, just so we
Yeah,
have
yeah.
it? That'd be great.
Yeah, actually Nate has asked me to not send it to everybody because he didn't want it. He wanted to make comments first. He wanted to take a couple weeks. So I took a look at the drawings and I understand what's going on. But I would like to know if they address the specific comments that we made.
Okay.
And I'd
Yeah.
be happy to do a red line markup if I have to.
The question, Mark, where do site plan approvals or A&R approvals, right, where can people find that on SharePoint?
They're not really, they're filed with the clerk. So they can get copies at the clerk's office if they want, or in our office. But they're not
Might
like,
help track those that people can reference.
Okay, and then before I go to minutes, is there any public comment? Okay, seeing none, let's take minutes. I'll start with March 24th. What's today? Today's the March 24th. Have people reviewed March 24th?
I think so.
Okay. I'm just pulling it up to see who was present.
Think about
Sarah,
it.
Chris, Sue, Gordon, Laura, Mary. Like we were mostly talking about the do I have a motion to approve? Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
So the minutes of the March 24th, Mark, do say that we did not approve the minutes of March 12th. So those aren't on our list, so those would still be outstanding. So just make note that we need to still do March 12th.
Check on March 12th.
Yep. Okay, April 7th. That was the public hearing.
That was fine.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Mary was not present. Says Sarah, Chris, Peter. Gordon, you were present at that.
Yep.
So that needs to be adjusted to include Gordon. I think Shannon, I don't know if Shannon's on, but
No, he was sick today.
okay. He often makes errors on who is attending. So that's like,
Which,
this is April 7th. Gordon attended. Mary was absent. This was the public hearing. Okay. Do I have a motion to approve April 7th?
I'll move.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Mary's abstaining. Thank you. And April 10th, these are important ones. I had comments earlier that it got incorporated. Sue is now shown. I want people to,
I think that went okay.
I noticed that it mentioned Adam Wilson instead of Alan Wilson.
oh yeah, Alan Wilson on page 2. Public comment should be Alan Wilson.
I was not in attendance at that meeting.
Correct. You're not listed. Sarah, Chris, Mary, and Sue. Oh, and Peter was there too.
Yeah.
Peter was present. Gordon and Laura were not. People had a chance to review those.
That looked okay.
Great, I'll take a motion to approve the minutes of April 10th with the amendment, Peter Morton was present.
And Alan Wilson.
And Alan Wilson should be
Alan
Adam
Wilson.
Alan Wilson, let's not get that wrong. Okay, I need just the three of us. So, oh no, you were there too.
I'll move they be approved.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor? Mary?
I didn't read them. Abstain.
Abstain from Mary and 3 vote for. Okay, and April 14th. They're not in the packet. Oh yeah, they are. Sorry. That was our regular meeting. Mary, Sarah, Chris, Peter, okay, everybody was present.
That was our last one.
Okay, any, take a motion to approve April 14th?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, abstaining? Okay, Mary's abstaining, thanks. Great, our next meeting is going to be May 27th, that's a Tuesday, I believe. Yes, it's the Tuesday after Memorial Day. And following that is June 9th. But as always, stay tuned for whatever adventure awaits.
And I won't be here on the 27th.
Looking to see if the Essex passed the. No word. Okay, and with that, I'll say, Mary, thank you very much for 6 years of hard work and
I think it was longer than that.
come back and see us, I know you will, in person or virtually, or, and,
My email address, I'm sure.
Yes,
and-
you do.
Yes,
You have our phone numbers too.
yes,
and we can get her to prove amendments and things.
right. Well, we do look forward to hearing from you again, and, thank you. Be sure to take your name tag, because mine is like 28 years old from many years
I
ago.
think I'm gonna be back.
I held on to it and I recycled it, so you never know. Don't say never. But thank you
Well,
for your,
thank you. Good luck with everything.
thanks. I'll take a motion to,
We adjourn.
Second.
all in favor?
Who's done?
I'm
All
done.
right. Take your name tag, like I said, you never know.